Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4 on this Monday. Hope you all had a nice weekend, despite the weather yesterday.
How about you? Did you have a good one?
Yeah, kind of low-key, but it's nice.
Yeah, it was nice. I agree.
Good for Vikings fans.
Oh, that's right. I know it's hard when there's not a Packer game on a Sunday, but you get more done, don't you?
You actually do. I got a lot of stuff done.
Yeah.
We'll get to the weather in just a bit, but first, here's what's making news on this Monday. The impeachment inquiry continues with 8 people scheduled to testify this week.
A building on Regent Street is heavily damaged after a car runs into it for the second time.
And as Madison theater goers get ready to see Hamilton this week, there's an opportunity for history buffs to get involved as well.
Very exciting. Everybody's been looking forward to that. Let's take a look outside today. It was gray and gloomy and chilly.
Not great, that's for sure. The weather words, icy tomorrow morning, question mark. Let's get the answer from Dana. She's in the backyard on this gray day.
Gray. It's a gray day, and of course sunset's still just about 30 minutes away, but it's already looking pretty dark outside. Likely not going to see much of that sunset with a very thick cloud deck overhead. Here's a live look with our WISC-TV Skycam. Nothing falling right now, but overnight into tomorrow morning, we are looking at the opportunity for some light snow, even a little freezing rain or light rain at times to mix on in, and it does seem likely that's going to be coming down during the commute for Madison. So because of this, we've added an alert day to the forecast. A little of that precipitation might make the roads a little slick and slippery early in the day, so we're going to want to plan ahead and keep a close eye on those road conditions tomorrow morning. But we'll take a closer look at what's ahead for the rest of the work week. Here's your hint. Hopefully some more seasonable temperatures in just a few minutes. Right now, of course, looking at the Merrimack South Shore. The ferry now closed, making its last run this morning. No accidents to report throughout southern Wisconsin. We're kind of in a good place right now. Downtown Janesville looks smooth, and you should be good on the interstate all the way down to the state line. From Janesville to the Beltline, about 27 minutes, 17 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton and from Sun Prairie to downtown. The same drive time. It's a little cloudy. You definitely won't need the shades for your evening drive.
All right, Dana, thank you very much. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you, Dana. First at 4, a local company is picking up the pieces after a car crashed into its building this weekend.
Now, this is the second time this year that this has happened. Jamie Perez shows us a look at the damages and why the manager is saying that she is thankful this time around.
That first crash at D. Rienzo Monuments over on Regent Street happened in January during the polar vortex, and that damage was so bad that this crash makes her thankful that it was only a car-sized hole through the building this time. Now here's a look at that damage from this weekend. The manager says their handicapped entrance is now caved in. She says a lot of people speed through the intersection her building is at. They don't see her building, and then they run stop signs, which puts her and her business in a vulnerable spot. But when she compares the two crashes, she's holding a pretty positive attitude about this one.
My heart was just pounding. I kept saying, okay, just breathe and hopefully it won't be as bad. And actually, when I drove up and saw, I went, oh my God, that's minor, just a hole in the wall, you know? I mean, compared to the damage from the first time, it felt pretty minor.
The person who crashed into the building this time was taken to the hospital and their car was towed. And the manager says she hopes to work with the city in the future to get some sort of flashing lights on her building, or at least somewhere at that intersection, so that she's not put in such a vulnerable situation in the future. And we do actually have some pictures of what that crash looked like the first time around in January, so we'll have a look at those tonight at 6.
See you then. Jamie, thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. State Attorney General Josh Kaul says $1.5 million in grants will be split up among drug courts. Kaul joined Governor Tony Evers today to announce that the money would help drug courts in Door, Shawano, and Lafayette counties, as well as support the Ho-Chunk Nation's drug court. The current state budget included the money to expand drug courts, which provide alternatives to prosecution and incarceration for offenders who abuse alcohol and other drugs. Governor Evers says these courts create a more effective state criminal justice program.
But it also moves our state closer to a more compassionate and common sense approach to criminal justice, which is so desperately needed.
The money will also be used to expand treatment diversion programs in several counties, including Adams and Monroe.
An update out of Rock County. The medical examiner has released the name of the man killed over the weekend in Beloit. 34-year-old Juan Buchanan was shot just before 4 o'clock Saturday morning. He later died at the hospital. Police continue to search for a silver SUV and a blue Volkswagen sedan that may be connected to the shooting. Anyone with information related to the case should contact the Beloit Police Department.
An update from Oklahoma this afternoon. At least 2 people are dead after a gunman opened fire outside of a Walmart there. It happened in the city of Duncan, about 80 miles south of Oklahoma City. Police say a man and a woman were fatally shot in a car in the parking lot of the store. Police say the suspected shooter then turned the gun on himself. Officers are still interviewing witnesses and trying to find a motive. Police in California continue to search for the suspect who opened fire on a backyard party in Fresno. 4 people are dead and 6 others were hurt in the ambush-style shooting. At least 35 friends and family had gathered to watch football. The victims are all Asian males between 25 and 35 years old. When police arrived, they found 3 men down on the ground and started CPR, but could not revive them. Another died at the hospital. 6 others are expected to recover from their injuries. Police have not yet determined any kind of motive.
What I can tell you is this was not a random act. It appears that this incident was a targeted act of violence against this residence. We are investigating leads, and we do have information that possibly some people at this party were involved in a disturbance earlier this week.
Police went door to door in the neighborhood last night searching for witnesses and any security camera footage. Federal agents are assisting in the investigation. There were several children at the party, but they were not hit by gunfire.
The House kicks off its second week of public impeachment hearings with all eyes on a key witness as CBS News learns new information about his interactions with Ukraine. And President Trump is responding to calls from House Democrats for his testimony. Nicole Killian has more from Capitol Hill.
I always defend State Department employees. It's the greatest diplomatic corps in the history of the world.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo gave a blanket defense of officials who testified in the House impeachment proceedings and of the president.
I'm proud of what this administration has done with respect to Ukraine.
CBS News confirms reports that Ambassador to the EU Gordon Sondland sent emails to several administration officials to keep them posted on his efforts to get Ukraine to agree to President Trump's demands for investigations into the Bidens and Democrats. Last week, State Department official David Holmes told House committees he overheard the president ask Sondland about the investigations during a phone call. Several witnesses have contradicted Sondland's earlier closed-door deposition, and Sondland amended his testimony to say there was quid pro quo. He is one of several officials scheduled to publicly testify this week.
We're going to have a host of witnesses. We'll see how his testimony plays out.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said President Trump is also welcome to testify.
The president could come right before the committee and speak all the truth that he wants if he wants to.
expect him
if
to
he
do
wants
that.
to take the oath of office, or he could do it in writing.
President Trump tweeted in response, "Even though I did nothing wrong and don't like giving credibility to this no due process hoax, I like the idea and will, in order to get Congress focused again, strongly consider it." CBS News has learned House investigators are looking into whether President Trump lied when he answered questions in writing for special counsel Robert Mueller's probe into Russian interference in the 2016 election. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And House Republicans have also called on Republican Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson to give any information he may have about President Trump's actions towards Ukraine. Johnson was part of the delegation that attended Ukrainian President Zelensky's inauguration earlier this year. And CBS News will bring you complete coverage of this week's public testimony in the impeachment inquiry. Nora O'Donnell will anchor our special reports from Washington tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. And tomorrow is the opening night of Broadway's hit musical Hamilton at the Overture Center for the Arts.
There are opportunities to learn more about the nation's history, even if you don't have tickets. Gabriella Becerra joins us live from the Overture Center, where the crew is getting set up. Gabby?
That's right. It's Hamilton Week over here at the Overture Center for the Arts, and those who may have not been able to snag tickets for the nearly sold out performances can still take part in some of the special activities. The Overture Center is partnering with the Wisconsin Historical Society to display several Hamilton artifacts for the public to check out before the show. Some of those artifacts include the Reynolds pamphlet, the original printing of Washington's farewell address, and autographs from Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr, George Washington, and more.
You do not need a ticket to the show to see the display that they will be putting on, and there's some fascinating stuff from our history. So please come on out and enjoy what the Historical Society is showing us.
The display will be available for viewing in an upper portion of the lobby on November 19th, 21st, 24th, and December 6th. Lobby doors open 90 minutes before the performance. The show will run here in Madison from November 19th to December 8th. I will have more tips from the Overture Center, including information about tickets on News 3 Now at 5.
All right, Gabby, thank you. We'll see you then.
We're a little over a week now from Thanksgiving, and aspiring chefs at Madison College are already doing plenty of giving. Students pulled more than 40 turkeys from the ovens this afternoon. They'll be carved for the River Food Pantry's Thanksgiving dinner this Friday. This is the 13th year Madison College has donated to the meal. The River Food Pantry is still looking for volunteers, and if you'd like to help to serve, go to their website, riverfoodpantry.org. Before we head to a break, we have some exciting news to share here at News 3 Now.
Here it is. News 3 Now is honored to have received an Emmy for Outstanding Achievement for News Programming, specifically our coverage of last year's historic flooding in southern Wisconsin. Looking at the video from the winning 6 p.m. newscast, we're reminded how difficult that time was for many of our viewers, and we're proud that our news team did the best job possible to cover the flooding and the impact it had on many neighborhoods in our viewing area.
Thank you to everybody.
And here it is.
Yes, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It's as close as I'll ever get to one. Well, there's more to come at 4. Our film critic Will Loper reviews the #1 movie at the box office this past weekend.
We'll find out what he thinks of the new film Ford versus Ferrari. That's when Live at 4 continues. Five Below, a popular store that sells products for $5 or less, is undergoing a bit of a change. It will start selling items above $5 for the first time in 17 years. The company says it's tried very hard to keep prices down, but can't sustain those prices for items like tech gadgets and toys. The items costing up to $10 will be in separate sections of the store, and they will have a toys and games section called 10 Below Gift Shop and an electronics section called 10 Below Tech. The company said most of the merchandise remains below $5, so the company is keeping the store name.
I'm confused.
I know, a little bit of an asterisk after that. Doctors hope that a new study gives parents more reassurance that the HPV vaccine is safe.
Only about half of today's adolescents are completing the vaccine, which can prevent cervical and head and neck cancers. HPV is very common, with about 14 million people becoming infected with the sexually transmitted virus every year. Those infections can lead to cancers later in life for both men and women. Now, the latest research published in the journal Pediatrics is backing up previous studies about the vaccine's safety.
The studies that were done originally were sound, and the side effects are minimal, and this vaccine is extremely safe.
Investigators reviewed reports over a 3-year period when 28 million doses of the vaccine were given. 97% of side effects were classified as non-serious and included headache, dizziness, fainting, and irritation where the shot was given. It's recommended girls and boys get 2 doses at 11 to 12 years old. A 3rd dose is necessary if you start the vaccine over the age of 15. Well, as cannabis becomes legal in more states, a new type of wedding is budding.
High school sweethearts Mike Whitaker and Jordan McKenzie are planning a high note for their wedding day. In addition to a bartender, they're hiring a bud tender to serve marijuana to their guests. At this cannabis wedding expo in Boston, couples can visit over 30 booths featuring marijuana-themed services, everything from flowers to chocolate fountains infused with CBD to marijuana drinks for a wedding toast.
Most of our clients don't want a cannabis-themed wedding. They want cannabis available for their guests in a safe and moderated way.
Expo founder and CEO Philip Wolf would love to see a bud bar become the norm at events. For weddings and events, he says the average cannabis bar costs $750 for a 100-person wedding. That price does not include the actual cannabis, which the couples must buy themselves.
Interesting. Well, T-Mobile CEO Jean Legier is stepping down. The company made the announcement Monday. Legier's contract ends in April. He's set to leave when it expires. The move comes after reports Legier was a top contender to become WeWork's next CEO. He's denied he was ever considering the job. Legier said he was already planning to step down as CEO before the rumor started. He'll be replaced by Mike Seifert, who is currently the president and chief operating officer of T-Mobile. Legier will remain a T-Mobile board member. On Wall Street, records were set across the board as Apple and Disney shares traded near highs. The Dow Industrials added 31 points, closing at 28,036. The Nasdaq Composite Index gained 9, and the S&P 500 was up 1.5 points.
You're going to build a car to beat Ferrari with a Ford. Correct. And how long did you tell them that you needed? 200-300 years? 90 days.
We're gonna make history.
That was a clip from Ford v. Ferrari, one of the newest movies to hit theaters.
Is the film worth seeing? Here to let us know what he thinks is our film critic, Will Loper. Really looking forward to this one.
And I think you should strap yourself in and race to the nearest theater to see this movie because it is easily one of the best of the year. It's thrilling, it's inspiring, and it's just plain good filmmaking from start to finish. So it's 1963 and the Ford company is in trouble. Henry Ford II is looking for ideas to make his company relevant again and get all the boomers who are now able to drive interested in buying a Ford. Now, one of his underlings says, look, we gotta be cool, we need a race car. So they enlist car designer and engineer Carroll Shelby, played by Matt Damon, to build them a car to race and hopefully beat Ferrari in Le Mans. a 24-hour race in France. Now, Shelby brings on racer Ken Miles, played by Christian Bale, and the rest of the film, we see these two do their thing and do it well while butting heads with all the suits at Ford. Now, the race scenes are incredibly tense. You're going to want to wear gloves or you'll bite your nails till nothing's left. The acting is, of course, fantastic, and the story of how these two men pulled off such an incredible feat is nothing short of a miracle. And this is coming from somebody who has next to no knowledge of cars and really zero interest in seeing cars race around in circles. But I think this film was one of the best of the year and is a must-see.
Well, you just read my mind, because I was going to say, if you're not a car person, would you still enjoy this movie?
I know, when I sat down in the theater and the movie was about to start, I'm like, gosh, I'm just not into racing or cars at all. Am I going to like this? I'm just not looking forward to this. But then I was glued to the screen.
Wow, then you know it's good.
It is riveting.
Yeah.
And it's a true story.
And a true story. It's just, yeah, it's inspiring. It's fantastic.
All right, what's the rating?
We gave this one 4.8 real life Carol Shelby's and Ken Miles out of 5.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, see the
There they
real
are.
pictures.
All right, up next, The Good Liar.
Don't you find it's always the same?
You mean the anticipation followed by the letdown?
So Ian McKellen stars as Roy. He's a career con man who meets a millionaire widow on a date and decides to take her for every last shilling. Now, the widow is played by Helen Mirren, and the best part of this movie is seeing these two veteran actors just doing what they do best. And, you know, while it's a joy to see them play off each other, the script builds and builds until it really sputters out in the third act, and ultimately the whole thing feels like a student project rather than the master stroke it should have been, and that these two seasoned actors deserved.
Oh, that's unfortunate, because what a cast.
I know. And, you know, for most of the movie, I think it is still enjoyable enough just to sit back and watch McKellen and Mirren just go at it. But, oh, that ending.
Maybe wait till it gets on rental.
Yeah, if you can see it for free on cable, maybe, or just rent it, that's the best way. Yeah.
Okay, the truth, not good.
Yes, that's the good truth, guys.
All right, what's the rating?
2.8 script doctors out of 5. This movie needed one.
All right, next week.
Oh, guys, hope you're ready for another song to get stuck in your head. It's Frozen 2.
Oh, that's a big deal.
It's everywhere, and parents, strap in.
Thanks, Will. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Take a look at this. The Red Bull Rubik's Cube World Cup 2019 was held in Moscow over the weekend. Rubik's Cube inventor, Hungarian-born Erno Rubik, attended the competition, which attracted participants from as far afield as Australia, the United States, and China. Fingers flew and clocks ran as the world's best Rubik Cube puzzle solvers tried to knock each other out of contention. The competition is split into 3 disciplines: speed cubing, fastest, and re-scrambled. An American, Max Park, was crowned champion of the speed cubing competition.
I'm amazed by that.
I know.
How do they do that?
I've never finished one.
Me neither.
In weeks and weeks.
The time was put in.
That's what I mean. Yeah, well, this story is just for Dana's benefit. Hail, as we know, can be devastating, especially for fruit farmers.
That's why they'll do absolutely anything they can to protect their crop. Footage from a tropical fruit farm in Australia shows large pellets of hail being released from nets that were used, of course, to protect the crops. A destructive hailstorm hit parts of Queensland yesterday with hailstorms the size of cricket balls. This is Australia, of course, remember. So
is a cricket ball the size of a tennis ball? How
is
big
it about a tennis ball?
Yeah, about.
Yeah, is that about? Yeah.
Start using that in your thing, in your forecast.
Where is she from? Where is she saying?
Cricket.
We're gonna do that. No, but those nets are cool. I like the slow-mo.
Yeah, that's a lot of hail.
It's a lot of hail.
Well, summer down there, right?
Yes, yes. They're enjoying their summertime, so they get the bigger storms. Of course, this hail comes from the taller storm clouds. It has to be really cold up top for that hail to make it all the way down.
And things might get slippery for us tomorrow morning. Oh, that's bad timing. That freezing rain is the worst.
Yeah, it is the worst.
Yes, yes. And it's not good, of course, like you said, the timing with that. It looked earlier that it was going to be coming around midnight, and now that timing's really bumped back, and that is going to impact your drive-in. So we keep it a close eye on the roads in the morning, but we'll take a look at that timing right after the break.
In the
It's been a very cool start to November. It's been a very below average start to the month, actually. As we look at our temperature stretch so far, we haven't had a single day where we've actually climbed above average or even been close. And of course, today we didn't quite get there, so we are just adding to that monthly departure. We do have a little more time, though, of course, till the end of the month, and it does seem likely by the end of the week even that we'll finally be back into the 40s. That's where we should be for this time of year. It's just been about 3 weeks since we've been there. Looking at our Doppler track right now, we are mostly cloudy outside, not picking up anything falling. But this area of low pressure off to the west right now, just at the southern edge of Minnesota, is going to pass right on over us and bring the little mixture, a little bit of precipitation for early tomorrow morning. And unfortunately, that precipitation is coming through right during our morning commute. So that light rain and light snow is going to lead to some very slick road conditions. Not ideal to come through while folks are trying to get into work and kids are trying to get into school. So let's look at the timing for this. Mostly cloudy sky through this evening and overnight. It's not until about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning that we start to see some light snowfall, even some light rain and freezing drizzle possible early in the morning. That, of course, is very hard to keep cleaned up. You can't put salt down while the rain is still falling. So that freezing drizzle could lead to some very icy slick spots. By 7, 8 o'clock, we start to see that light snow falling throughout Dane County. Behind that, as temperatures start to warm up, we may see a little bit of a mix or light rain before things come to clear by about noon. That gives us the afternoon to stay dry, though it is going to stay mostly cloudy outside. Plenty of time, of course, to get things cleaned up. There's the center of that low pressure passing on over. Heading into Wednesday, we're still quite cloudy outside, though temperatures will improve a little bit for Wednesday and Thursday, with our next chance for some rain developing Wednesday night into Thursday. Overall, snow accumulations won't be that grand. We're looking at well under an inch for most of the area, maybe a few tenths of an inch. The problem, of course, with any rain coming down, it's just going to eat away at any snow potential or any accumulating snow potential. But wouldn't be surprised if we did see some areas, especially like under the trees or in parts of your front yard, where we do pick up maybe a quarter of an inch of accumulation. Much of the ice threat is going to be to the southwest corner of the state, south and west of Dane County. They're going to be dealing with that wintry mix and the rain coming through first, and so that has the opportunity to freeze. While it does seem like more of a light snow event for the Madison area and into Rock County. But regardless, tomorrow morning you'll want to give yourself a little extra time because it is going to be messy on the roads. Overnight temperatures will fall to just at freezing. Cloudy skies expected later on in the night. The snow and the freezing rain develops heading into tomorrow morning. Overall, the bus stop temps will still be close to freezing. It'll be cold. The bus might be running just a little behind because of the slick roads, so keep that in mind. And if you are taking the little ones to school, give yourself plenty of time and space on the roadways. Temperatures in the afternoon will climb up to the upper 30s. Our alert day is because of the road conditions in the morning. In the afternoon, it'll be mostly cloudy and not so much of a concern with the forecast later in the day. Temperatures will be in the 40s for Wednesday and Thursday, finally, where we should be in the mid to low 40s for this time of year. Light rain will develop Wednesday night, and we're looking at showers throughout the day on Thursday. May even mix with some light snow before ending later on in the evening once temperatures really start to drop on down. Finally, we get the sunshine back for Friday and into the weekend. It will be nice, of course, to enjoy those temperatures in the 40s Saturday and Sunday, with partly sunny skies. And as we continue into next week, it does seem very likely that for Thanksgiving week, temperatures will hug close to average. Our next system, once we get through the weekend, seems unfortunately aligned with Thanksgiving and a lot of travel Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It does seem like a little wintry mix might start to pick on up as temperatures kind of hover around up and down freezing. So the roads might be a little less than ideal. If you're like myself, we will be on the roads that week. I know most people actually have a little bit of travel planned for Thanksgiving. We'll be keeping a close eye on that right now. The concern is still the roads tomorrow morning.
It's a ways off.
It's a ways off. We still have 10 days, but we're starting, that little turkey's going to creep on up here over the next few days. Day by day.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. About 90% of people say they buckle up when they get in the front seat of a car, but that number drops significantly when people ride in the back.
And a new study finds that can lead to deadly consequences. Mark Liverman reports.
This is what can happen when you don't buckle up in the back seat. This family of 3 was thrown around when the cab they were riding in was hit by another car. Everyone inside walked away, but a new report from the Governor's Highway Safety Association found 803 people were killed last year while riding in the back unbuckled. Federal regulators believe half of them could have survived if they had fastened their seatbelt.
That's the simplest thing you can do when you get into a car, is just buckle your seatbelt.
While most people wear a seatbelt in their own car, a 2017 survey found only 57% of passengers buckle up in the back seat of ride-hailing services like cabs, Lyft, and Uber. Those who don't often say it's because they're in a hurry.
The ride is very quick, and it's over really soon.
Every state except New Hampshire has laws that say passengers in the front have to wear a seatbelt, but 20 states don't require adult riders to wear safety restraints in the back.
Research shows that in states that do have a law requiring passengers to buckle up in the back seat, rear seatbelt use in those states tends to be higher.
And it can prevent injuries to other people in the car. In this crash test video, an unbuckled passenger smashes into the driver. Safety advocates want more automakers to install the same belt reminders cars have in the front seat for people in the back as well, a step that could save more lives. Mark Liverman, CBS News, New York.
And rear seat passengers are twice as likely to die in a crash if they are unbuckled. Buckle up.
Yeah, good information. When we come back, there's more to come on Live at 4.
Hundreds of people are flocking to the National Zoo to say goodbye to Bebe. I'm Skylar Henry with why the giant panda is leaving and where he's headed next.
Shop.
Here is a live look downtown Madison. The sun is set on this great day. It's hard to tell if it's set or not.
It's true.
Well, the Smithsonian's National Zoo in D.C. is bidding farewell to one of its most popular residents, Bebe.
The giant panda leaves tomorrow for China. Skylar Henry reports from Washington.
Visitors flocked to the Smithsonian's National Zoo in D.C. Monday to say goodbye to Bei.
It's a very special thing. Where else are there pandas?
The beloved panda has been wowing crowds at the zoo since his birth in 2015. Millions of people have followed Bei's every move on PandaCam, watching him tumble, sleep, and chomp on bamboo. Like all the pandas born here at the National Zoo, Bei is moving to China, where he'll be part of the country's panda breeding program. The loan agreement between China and the National Zoo stipulates all cubs born here must move to China when they reach age 4.
There are more black bears in the state of Virginia than there are pandas in the world. And so we got a long way to go before we have enough pandas.
Bei takes off on Tuesday on his own private plane dubbed the Panda Express.
He's going to be the only bear in the whole plane. He's traveling with his favorite treats, his favorite toys, his favorite people.
A panda keeper and veterinarian will travel with him for the 16-hour flight. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
He's crazy.
Isn't he funny?
He really is
Godspeed,
funny.
Bei. Once considered endangered, there are now about 2,000 pandas in the wild.
He will be missed. Well, there's more to come at 4. Up next, we're going behind the wheel with Harvey Briggs.
When we come back, we'll find out what he thinks of the all-new Hyundai Palisade. It's a full-size, 3-row SUV. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Roads are looking okay right now, though the Beltline, of course, a little slower than usual. There is a disabled vehicle on 39, but it's not causing any delays. It's on the shoulder right now. Not good for them, but everyone else is moving along. On the eastbound side, those speeds are okay close to Gammon. Then the closer you get to Park Street, down to the 30s. And then we start to pick back up once you get past John Nolan, heading towards 39. Around Janesville, there's some slow down spots downtown as more folks are getting on the roads. 51 right now, a little delayed there, but overall things should be fairly smooth this evening. Again, no accidents to report and no major congestion spots. From Janesville to the Beltline, about 27 minutes, 17 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton, from Sun Prairie to downtown. About 18 minutes this evening. That's quick look at traffic.
All right, thank you, Dana. The world's most famous rodents just turned 91 years young. Mickey and Minnie share a November birthday because they made their screen debuts together in 1928's Steamboat Willie. Here are some other fun facts. Mickey and Minnie both have their own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And although it's never been made official, Walt Disney admitted in 1933 that the pair are also married. Also, their original names were Mortimer and Minerva.
I think Mickey and Minnie are better.
Yeah, I agree. All great trivia questions, though. Well, one of the most popular vehicle segments these days is the full-sized 3-row SUV. It's a crowded field, which just got more crowded with the debut of the new Hyundai Palisade.
It is all new and joins its corporate sibling, the Kia Telluride, in the 3-row Caravan. The Palisade replaces the Santa Fe XL, and it's sort of a Mary Poppins car, perfect in almost every way. Let's check it out as we go behind the wheel with Harvey Briggs. Brand new.
Brand new. Yes, the Hyundai Palisade. This is their full-size SUV. Came out a little earlier this year to a lot of high praise by a lot of different types of journalists.
It's a front end.
Yeah. You know, I'm not sure what happened here, but I think the designers came up with something and someone higher up said, needs more bling.
Reasonable people can disagree about things like design, but that Predator with an underbite look could be a challenge for some. Other than that, the rest of the design of the Palisade is pretty straightforward.
You've got a big two-box design, your front end, your big rear. This one, the roof line doesn't taper quite as much as some do to give it a little more headroom in the back, and it just doesn't feel as sporty. It feels more like a luxury vehicle.
And it practically is. Especially when you get the top-of-the-line limited all-wheel drive edition.
The base one of this starts at about $31,500, which is, you know, very competitive in the segment. But when you get to this top limited level, and we're talking about a $47,000 vehicle with all the features and options on this thing, you're probably starting to compete with the Cadillac XT6 and the Acura MDX with this thing.
That is pretty high praise, and the Limited is loaded with every, and I mean every, bell and whistle available. It has every safety feature known to man, including blind spot cameras that come on with the directional, passenger, and driver's side.
You've got full digital instrument panel, you've got satellite, you've got navigation.
Napa leather?
Yes, the full Napa leather, heated and ventilated seats, front and second row. It's one of the few vehicles that has ventilated seats in both rows. You have to go up to super premium brands almost to get that feature.
It has a push-button transmission. That saves some real estate and allows for big storage space underneath it.
Big storage up here. Fun thing is you can keep it large and put something big in there, or if you have your drinks, you just pop that and it comes out and holds everything in place. You have wireless charging right there as well.
USBs?
And USBs and even more down underneath here.
Storage in the back with all 3 rows of seats up is tight, but that's typical in this class. That's why they make roof racks. All models are powered by a 290 horsepower V6. Ride and handling is what you'd expect.
The suspension is set up for more of a soft, you know, premium ride quality. And with these large 20-inch wheels and these all-season tires on it, it rides pretty quietly, very comfortable, very much what you'd expect for a vehicle like this.
If that front end is too much, the Palisade does share structural and powertrain under things with the Kia Telluride.
The Telluride is more adventure-focused, where this feels more luxurious. And I think that's kind of how Kia and Hyundai differentiate themselves overall. Kia is more sporting, more youthful.
The bottom line?
I don't know how they did it. And it's just one of those things where you look at Honda and you look at Toyota, and they build really great vehicles in this category, and this one just goes that much higher and does it for significantly less dollars.
I think he likes it.
I like the front end.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
People can disagree on that. The warranty is also better than anybody else's. 10 years, 100,000 miles. Chevy, Honda, Toyota, they're all 5 years, 60,000 miles. Hyundai needed to do that at first, but they weren't making cars that were so good. But now they're so good that the warranty doesn't cost them anything because no one cashes in on it.
Did Harvey try the third row seat? Was he able to sit back there?
No, he couldn't be back there.
No, just that would be like
It's
for a child.
Kids. Yeah, it's kids, but it's a lot of room.
It's a beautiful car.
Yeah. So go to ridesanddrives.com. Harvey has more on this car and all of the other cars that we have test driven, and we'll be right back with a final check of your forecast.
Ready to roll playback. 3.
Could be challenging in the morning.
Could be a little messy outside, unfortunately. So making sure you plan ahead, plenty of time to get the car clean and the snow boots on, even though it won't be thick snow. It is just going to be really sloshy outside. Here's a live look right now. Really looking forward to seeing a lot of Christmas lights on everyone's house here in just a little bit. Mostly cloudy sky tonight. Temperatures by daybreak tomorrow will be close to freezing. We are expecting some light snow, freezing drizzle, and a little light rain all mixed together to come through right during morning rush hour. Starting to pick up along the western edge of the state around 5 a.m., getting to Dane County and Madison really from 7 to 8. And that's going to lead to some slippery roads. So we do have an alert day in the forecast, mainly just for Tuesday morning. It is going to be a little messy outside early in the day, and you'll definitely want to plan ahead a little extra time and, of course, a little extra space on the roads.
Always during the rush hour.
Always. If we could bump that time around, it would be way more convenient.
All right, Dana, thank you. Tomorrow here on Live Before, we'll check out the Evergleam Christmas tree display at the Historical Museum, Society Museum, that is.
And Consumer Reports has some tips on how to keep your robotic vacuum out of trouble. These things, you got to keep an eye on these things. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4.